Well, and it looks like we are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Wrap episode 1. I'm Nathan Guerra. Anna Russell is sat next to me, or at least across the world, sat next to me virtually off in New Zealand. I'm on Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and we're here to talk about all things Zwift from the last week. That is what the Wrap is all about. It's racing, events, tech, fashion. I don't know what that's all about. I guess there's a fashion movement inside this virtual video game in which you ride a bicycle from your home. This has become extremely interesting. Plus, pretty much you name it. If you've got a topic that you want to bring them, because we are going to be pulling information from all over the Zwift community in order to bring it to you and highlight those things that are most important to all of us that we want to know about in the Zwift community. At least what we think is interesting. Hopefully everybody else out there thinks it's interesting as well. Anna, we've been wanting to do this for a while. Like, there's been this idea being shooting around, and I feel like with the race broadcasts, we've kind of like hinted in on it, and we've gotten these bunny trails, and we've gotten really distracted from the racing, and we're like, we need to make a podcast. We need to make a podcast. And then finally, Anna, last week, you were like, Nathan, let's just go. And then you sent me that image, and I was like, that's a cool looking, The Wrap. That's a good name. Nice job.
Yeah, I was away on holiday with the family. Welcome everyone, morning from a cold New Zealand. I've got the big jacket on. And I love commentating with you, Nathan. We don't do it a lot because we both kind of produce separately now. But when we have commentated together, we just end up chatting on all these tangents. And then I know we kind of experimented a bit with the TTTs instead of talking and having some guests on. And we just got, I know I got a lot of really good feedback that people wanted to hear more, what we're talking about, a little bit of an inside word, a bit of what's happening in racing, and obviously fashion. It's very near and dear to my heart. And each week I will be bringing my fashion choice of the week. So we'll have that a little bit later in the show. But yeah, I have always wanted to do a podcast too. And I just love, chatting all things Zwift. I'm on Zwift Insider probably, multiple times a week, checking out all the new updates.
Apologies on that, everybody. But okay, I want to talk about the motivation for even sitting around and because I feel like there is something there that I get super passionate about in real life cycling and talking about coaching and talking about, and I think there's this like reality of how the Zwift world and all of this newness of interacting with a game that like people suddenly have discovered something that nobody ever would thought really existed. Like there's a whole online community that's exercising together and racing together, and you're discovering, like, you're kind of mining out all of these like little golden nuggets of like human motivation, I feel like, and like what they want to do through this virtual world.
Yeah, I mean, I think what this is sort of brought out is all the people who may have been sitting isolated at home and didn't have a community, didn't have a local. I mean, I'm one of those people. I'm not a cyclist. I'm not a member of my local bike club, but I've got a huge sort of online community now here with Zwift. And I think that's why I get so passionate about it, is because I think without this, I probably would have kept doing some local triathlons and things like that, but I don't have that same sort of passion that I've kind of felt where it has brought together. Like last night, for example, I jumped in on a TTT with NZ Bro. I mean, there's a policeman from down the bottom of the South Island. There's someone else from, it just brought together a crew of people I would never, ever usually ride bikes with. And I think that is the beauty for me. And that's probably why I'm so passionate about it.
That's okay. And that wasn't even where I was going with that. What a great point that you brought up, though, and okay, you brought out the motivation part there so perfectly, Anna, because you just said, I would not have otherwise, right? Like you were like, and I'm like, wait a second. Yeah, this opens up a whole new multifaceted venue virtually to interact with other athletes in that have a similar desire to do cycling in a certain way, but then you like are able to hit on all these new nodes of people that you can just like go out and hammer. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's and the local thing that you just said there, I was like, huh. Yeah, I got pretty bored of my zone 2 rides on all my local, and I got pretty like I've done the hammer ride locally here for you know what I mean? Years upon years. And yeah, it's good to see all them on a week in and week out basis. But then you've got this whole new population that on top of all the new game interactions. And to be honest, it's just innovation in cycling. And then you're
Yeah.
experiencing that from moment to moment.
I think, yeah, I mean, it's a really good point. And I know the question I get always frustrates me a little bit, but, I'm trying to develop youth hubs around New Zealand related to esport. We got a bit of funding to do it, to bring in people who wouldn't usually be getting on a bike, hopefully to then pathway them to a bike. Now, some of the, traditional cyclists are like, no, they shouldn't be gaming and on a bike. They should be out there, mountain biking in the dark with head torches like I did. And I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. And the people who are doing that, like, all credit to them, and they're deep in it. They love it. But there are a bunch of people, young kids maybe, who find that quite daunting and a little bit scary. And they'll probably get there in a year or two, but maybe they need a little intro that is a little softer, than a hardcore sort of forest ride in the dark. Not everyone fits into that pathway. And I think as long as people see it as a compliment, this is a way to get people into the sport and into fitness, and they'll meet a community. And I mean, for me, I'm entertaining the thought of racing in the New Zealand Cycling Nationals, which I would never, ever have entertained before Zwift ever in my life. And it's, because you go, oh, okay, well, that person I ride with, they're doing it. So I may as well go give it a try. So I don't know. I think it's a compliment. And I think when people sort of get down the path, or it's one or the other, you're either online cycling, you're in real world cycling. I don't think that's probably good for the benefit of just getting people on bikes.
That's really, really true. And the idea of a launch pad just keeps on coming up as well because of now the ease, that's a topic we've had so many times when we had the Zwift cast was like this topic came up all the time was how much friction was there to get onto Zwift, technologically wise, and so as everybody kind of tools up and levels up from a technology standpoint, perhaps, or that friction goes down, that introduction, once you get past that, what a launch pad that it has been, which we've seen with the TTT, that we've seen, like you said, with the introduction that you've had to cycling, and now you're going to maybe do a national championship. Like, I mean, that idea, I think, as far as compliment, definitely, and its own part of cycling in and of itself. Now that's kind of we don't want to beat a dead horse though, obviously, and we've said that time and time again, but yeah, as far as why we'd want to do this, there's this entire world of people and huge community that we want to be able to show off and talk about everything that everybody obviously really, really excited about, because people put massive amounts of time and hours into organizing this stuff. So, well, Anna, you're kind of in charge here, actually. For those, yeah, you brought everything this week. So, what are we up to?
I know. Well, first, I do want to talk to you about what you're doing with the classics, because you're not doing the typical broadcast that you've sort of done in the last couple of years. You're doing something a little bit different, and it's a bit more, I mean, I'm pretty new to the whole Twitch and gaming side of things, and I've gone in and it's actually been a bit of fun. But what are you doing with the classics? Because I know, you're pretty pumped about it, and I see you're racing pretty hard. So
I've actually, I'll hit that last point first, just because I'm a little proud, maybe. I don't know. But like, I am racing pretty hard. I went out to go chase a KOM Sunday for my, like, when you start peaking, you do every 72 hours, right? Like about every 72 hours, full gas effort, like what your races are going to be like, trying to simulate what's going on. And so I went out on Sunday and I did a KOM chase that I've held since 2014. And the only reason I didn't get this was because Garmin, where in the world of cycling is a negative, not you're ahead? It's a negative split. And then my Garmin said it was like 1 second, 2 second with a negative in front of it. And I'm going, I got it. All right, I got it. Just stay steady, stay steady. And then I gained like up to 5. I was like, yes. And I came across, it was 11:35 time, 11:40. What? I was flipping out. I like, oh my gosh. So anyways, I'm going pretty strong. Vague Bunny Trail, yes, I'm going pretty strong. But what I'm doing then is middle of the week on Wednesdays is kind of when I need a really, really hard workout anyways too. And I love to do the classics. It's that middle of the week. You might have an event on the weekend and you're probably rested enough, or maybe it's a double header if you do ZRL on Tuesdays and then you do the classics or whatever it might be on that Wednesday. So we went ahead and we launched this idea of Wednesday Worlds, similar to, it's not about first across the line. I'm trying to get the group of guys and gals, because Liz Van Hollen showed up. We had Rachel Elliott. We've had some names showing up amongst it that are showing up, and I want the A, B, C, and D all to show up on that time frame and kind of like have this attitude that you have on the local group ride that you show up to with your mates in order to just bury each other. Like, the point is to win the stop sign sprint, but I also flexed so hard pulling 400 watts in the front before I beat you all in that stop sign sprint, and you all look at each other and go, well done, man, you're going good. Nice job. That's the idea, is that we show up, and there's a local, and the idea about this also comes from a local group ride that I was used to do called the Gun Show. And the Gun Show came out from a man named Ron Stawicki, who's an amazing trail builder locally. As far as anything goes mountain biking in southeastern Wisconsin, this guy has built and been a major part of these trail systems as a volunteer. Amazing dude. He's also like one of the fastest single speeders in mountain biking wars history that have ever been, besides the Lalonde brothers. But that's a whole nother legend story. But he had the Gun Show because the Wednesday night ride that was kind of the most popular ride that a lot of actual local pro teams had come out became what he called the fashion show. Everybody showed up and they're really nice kids and they waited for the stop sign sprint. But wait. And it was the whole idea that it was the fashion show is they like showed up looking good and then they just sat in and took the sprint. You know what I mean? And there was just a couple of guys showing up for the workout while everybody else was like, well, I'm taking the sprint. It was like, this isn't a road race. We're on a training ride, right? And
See,
so go
yeah.
ahead, Anna.
Yeah, one guest that I'd like to have on in the future is James Bailey from Herd, but now works for Zwift. Because one thing he's done really cool, like with what you're trying to do with Wednesday Worlds, is his event series. I did the Sheeries, and there was just cool stuff. Like it was, hey, in this race today, the finish isn't the finish. Like that's not the points you're going to get. You're going to get the points for that KOM and that sprint. And so it kind of made it a bit fun and a bit weirdly tactical because you're like, whoa, total change of mindset. It's not about the finish line today. It's about these bits here. So kind of similar like to what you're saying. And it just makes you try some different stuff. And I think like the racing scene kind of needs a little bit of this like jump start into some different formats, like we did with the knockouts, like what you're trying to do with Wednesday Worlds and James is kind of doing as well. Just, I've commentated a few races where it's just a pure scratch race. You start and 40K later you finish. And man, it's hard to commentate those sometimes because there's not a lot going on in that 40K and then it's a sprint to the line, right? So
exactly.
Yeah, I like what you're doing there.
Yeah, and so yesterday I made a promise. I'm just going to blow it. Because the first week of Wednesday Worlds, it was like, I kind of sat in. I could tell everybody was like a little anxious because it's live streamed. And, if we win here, it's on, getting TV time. You know what I mean? And there's that whole idea. So yesterday, it was like right from the gun. I just, make it hard, cause a break. And myself and Christoph Thiem was in on it. He even put in, from Beast Mode, he even put in the a little message in chat. I'm just doing it for the TV time, man, or something along those lines. And the fun thing is the way it played out was at the end of the race, because I had attacked so much and so many people had to chase, and a lot of the top riders had come with me, or they had to make moves in the end in a way that countered. I set up I actually wasn't a teammate in any way, but it was like I was a teammate to whoever made a good counter. And it was Kuman and Zach Neer. It was Abus Lacole and Next Esports. They went off the front and ended up getting away because that attack had happened. And, and one of the things about Zwift racing is there's this assumption that breakaways and tactics can't work. And I think part of the motivation is also proving that that's just not true. People are just playing it really safe.
Yeah, and I think, one thing I'd love to try myself is a race a week with someone, like people just come into my Twitch and tell me the tactics to do. They go, okay, attack here, do this, try that. And you just go and do it. I was talking to my husband about it. I was like, how awesome would it be if you could, like what you're doing, you can go in and you can see all your power numbers. You can see the point of view from your race. Imagine if you're watching the Tour de France and you had Wout van Aert's just live stats up on screen, everything live, and you could just go in and say, attack now. Like imagine that. It would just be epic, right? To watch a race unfold, but as an audience member, be actually impacting the race that you're watching. I just think that would
So
be a really
like bring
cool.
in guest DSs. All right, watch out for Wednesday Worlds for the guest DS, and you need to like
Yeah.
be prepared for that. You'll be watching us do that. Maybe we'll practice with Sweet and Schlangy and maybe yourself and Carissa and Dave and see what happens there. But
I'll get on. I'll message Kristen and say, just tell Nathan to do all this crazy stuff. Just get that heart rate really, really high.
that's the point. That's the point. I mean, afterwards I was hurting. I mean, I don't know if I've been hurting from a nutrition standpoint on Zwift, but I haven't had it where I dug so deep in a very, very short period of time over and over again that I actually got that muscle soreness you get from like a sprint efforts, like over and over and over again, just within VO2 max. I haven't had that on Zwift in a while, and that definitely caused that yesterday. I thought I was going to do threshold work afterwards, and then I looked at it and I was like, 30 minutes at 4.8. I think I'm good. I think I'm good for today.
Yeah. So you do Wednesday Worlds. What do you do? Anything else during the week on Zwift? Training rides, other group rides? I've seen you do some TTTs.
Yeah, so I actually have a couple of teams that I've been guest riding for with the TTT. The TTT, though, right now, I tried doing a TTT prior to the last mountain bike race and my workout on Wednesday, and the workout on the Wednesday Worlds. And what ended up happening is I showed up just a little bit too flat to my Sunday race. And so if I don't have a Sunday race, I'll do the TTT. But right now it's just a little bit too close to like an all-in 2-hour mountain bike effort. So I'm taking this week off. But yes, I've been riding with Velocio, which has been a ton of fun. There has been a little bit like one thing I definitely been thinking about doing as well that I want to just put out there to the community is I kind of want to see if there's interest in, and I probably do this on my Twitch channel, maybe do something once we figured out and tested it of like, hey, this is what it looks like to DS a team and just guest DS or like somehow ride in a way with the team that I would be able to say, hey, let's do this here and expose like the thoughts that I'm having throughout, because there was definitely a difference of opinion within Velocio and myself. If you watched back any of the streams, I can't hold back. I can't. Like, I don't say anything in Discord, but like when I'm frustrated in racing and like I'm watching things of my effort just where I feel like things are just being totally wasted, I'm like, I like want to rip my hair out. I'm like, oh my God. And then on top of it, you're like sacrificing 180 beats per minute going, this just doesn't make sense. And so that riding with a lot of different elite teams and then knowing that they're Premier Division, I've actually sent a couple messages going about development at Zwift even to be like, why is this not being recognized and how can we help our players recognize when they might be doing something in quotes right or wrong for their goals, right? Like we need some sort of cues.
But then again, I don't mind the learning curve on Zwift because I have taken a while to hone my Zwift craft, right?
And now you're like, don't just give it away. Don't just give
it away. Don't just give it away. So no, I come into say ZRL season coming up. You see the people whose power profiles are way better than you, but they're spending, the whole time on the front of the pack at 4.4 watts a kg, dragging everyone. They're dropping anvils on an uphill. I want a little bit of that learning curve coming in. I don't want to give away all the secrets right off the bat. But I mean, so you mostly race. I've been doing the
well, okay, I have been doing a little bit of training rides, but everything that I do for training rides at this point at this time of year on Zwift is mostly just go hit TikTok and recover, or like it's mainly like late night hit recovery. I'll use ERG though if I need to, erg mode, for like base endurance, high endurance at this time of year where I'm like, okay, sharpen the knife of endurance as hard as I can, check your decoupling and do 3 hours at the edge of zone, high zone 3 if you can, high zone 2, low zone 3 as best as you possibly can. And those are really the only things. But go ahead. Sorry I just want to make sure I answer your question what I'm using Zwift for right now.
Yeah, nice. I'm kind of using it for probably similar. I race I do the classics as well, but I do it on a Tuesday night. And then Monday I try and do what I call like, can I get through it workout? You know, those workouts where you're sort of like, you look at the numbers at the start and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. And then you just try and do it. So one of those. And then what I've done is jumped in a whole bunch of like kind of different group rides. So ones that, you know, when it's ZRL season, it's a bit tricky to kind of get in because you're so smashed. And for me, it's summer. So the weekend I'm on the road. But yeah, like I jumped in on an Evo Flux like interval ride, which was really fun. We went up Epic Climb and kind of did intervals, super supportive bunch, which was really cool. So I'm kind of trying to jump into more sort of the community group rides, like at least 1 or 2 a week, which has been really fun. And that sort of comes to the fashion side of things as well, because I'm going into each ride. And I actually went into the Evo ride and the first thing someone said was, what do you think of our kit? And last night on the TTT, one of the teammates said, what do you think about what I'm wearing tonight? I'm like, I feel like every time I go on a group ride now,
Of course. Now
either
they're
trolled.
like, oh, that's so funny. That's really funny that like
about, like
no, they want to know your opinion. They want to know what the heck you think.
Yeah, so last night it was like, what do you think of this bike choice from a fashion point of view, not whether it's fastest? And I was like, oh, that's actually a really good question. Okay, here we go. I think it looks all right here. I think you could have paired it with these wheels. So yeah, these group rides.
Why don't you have like a magazine? You need like a Gucci magazine. You need like
I know the Zwift fashion magazine, right? It comes out every quarter.
That is actually a really good. Like I think almost as like an inside joke / not a joke, because some people actually would be reading it. Like it would be this perfect little in between where you could have some dry humor about it, but at the same time really do it and produce it. That's such a great idea.
Well, actually what I'm thinking is before we, like when I was just kind of going rogue and doing my own thing on a YouTube channel, I did a little like fashion summary at the end of each ZRL season. So I think I might pick that up again. We'll wrap it into this show. We'll do fashion to watch out for. So everyone send me the new kits that are coming in. And then during the ZRL season, I'll highlight what I think is, you know, looking good. Man, it gets controversial though, Nathan. I wrote an article for Outside Magazine, which is kind of ironic, on the best kits in Zwift. And they messaged
that
me.
Is super ironic. That is really ironic.
Yeah. But they messaged me like 2 days after the article had gone up and said, this has been our most popular article.
Are you serious?
Like, I'm not
That's
kidding.
Amazing.
It had got so many hits. And I was like, what? And I went onto the social media to have a look. I was like, oh man. So what had happened is people had come in and said, I can't believe you don't have this kit. This one should be on there. This one did it. And
so they started doing their own opinions. Like they were like, hey,
yeah,
this is
people
what
being
I
like,
think,
no,
I
this
think.
one. How did you miss this? This should have been there. Did it?
Wow. Okay. Now, as far as
yeah.
feedback goes, that is a huge feedback for Zwift, right? Like, because look, I'm sorry, but the UI situation currently with the shop, you know, you don't feel like you're showing up to like in a way, like it just doesn't feel like it's that tangible to jump into the shop and feel like I'm pimping my ride. I'm sorry. Like it's just like the way that you can interact with it. I just don't feel like there's that whole idea of like, how am I going to have a cool interaction with the game that feels like I can really find everything I want to and what it's all for, so that I can have my fastest setup alongside of the best fashion setup. It just needs a little bit more polish. And the fact that on Outside Magazine and all of those opinions came through says that there's a huge demand and we need more supply from Zwift when it comes to the fashion side of things.
And I'm also getting like the chat suddenly lit up on this show as well. My kit, this kit, Electric Spirit, Rhino Racing Kit. So all of that. Maybe this is a good segue then.
Lotto Super Club jersey, 1990. Yeah, like we have all kinds of stuff coming through now. Like everybody's about the fashion. But all right, what is this kit? This is the kit of the week. Okay. Here we go.
Kit of the week. I was out on a group ride. This is the Watch the Femmes Avec Zwift ride, podcast ride that I went on. Great series. I think you've got to do 8 rides to unlock that kit, but this was one of the group rides. Now, ignoring the fact this rider has no socks, so that obviously is a problem. And the hat is different to the kit. So that was assigned to the event. But I found out this is the LEL. So I posted it up on Facebook because I was like, what is this? I want this kit. This looks cool. So this is the Vegan Cyclist LEL Fruit Fundo Kit. Now, what I like about this kit too is that it was only in an exclusive kind of event unlock. So now you can't get it. So it's got that extra added part of exclusivity, which I like as well. But I mean, it's not everyone's style and it is quite loud. But that's sort of what I like about it. You've got the nice sort of block colors on the main part of the body. So the pink, the purple, the green, which just looks, quite nice. The block color on that part keeps that simple. But then you've got the noisy, loud, kind of crazy pineapple, watermelon, berries, bright sort of blues. If you're listening to the podcast version of this and you can't see this, I'll post it up on the socials. But it's a very loud, bright kit, and it just stood out. I mean, if you look at the kits around it, there's sort of like the reds, the oranges. This one stood out to me. I love it. Nathan, thoughts?
It is really loud. I mean, okay, you gotta really. Here's for me on this kit. You have to match everything super well. Like, I would love some actual gloves on these guys' hands. He's got to have some socks. I don't know about the matching of those shoes. Like, if you're gonna go for a kit like this, you better do every accent right, because that whole kit is accent. Like, that whole kit is like accenting itself like over and over again. So then if you get the rest of the accents wrong, you just made a mess. Like, it's like, so that's kind of where I'm at, is like, if you're going to use that kit, buyer beware, and make sure your shoes and your socks are right. Make sure you put some gloves on your hands, and the Watch the
All the
Femmes,
accessories.
perfect accessory though with the Watch the Femmes. Absolutely love that part of it. And Elio, I'm not sure which way you say it, but I saw some of their clothing here. Whitney Post and Michael Sweet came and they came and stayed here for Toad, and they had a bunch of that stuff. And wow, that's all I got to say too. If you get that kit in real life, that is some of the nicest material and nicest fitting pro type fit kit I've ever seen. And I was like, I want one of those. That thing is sweet. So Vegan, I mean, I think Vegan might work with them. Vegan Cyclist might work with them, but nice company to work with, it seems like. And they're doing a lot of technology, it seems like, that's kind of cutting edge on clothing for performance, I've noticed. How much of that is, a marketing thing or not, I don't know, but I've seen some videos about how they are looking to enhance your performance through what the clothing can do for you in different kinds of environments, etc. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were launching something indoor either. So that was a perfect pick actually for this week.
Nice. There we go. So we've got like the fashion of the week. So I'll pick a jersey each week. I've kind of lined up a few because I've been doing lots of group rides and taking lots of photos of the Zwift world with those new kits. So we'll see what comes up in the next couple of weeks. That one probably controversial. It was loud. Now, the other thing I'll probably look at is my garage pick of the week. So this is a bike or some kind of accessory in that regard. So this week, it is, and full credit to Zwift Insider because I go in and check usually each Friday about any new bikes that they've released. And this one is near and dear to my heart. It's the Chapter 2 Coco. One that just looks so good. It's the green, bright green going in with that cool purple fading out with a sort of digital view there. But really, it's near and dear to my heart. New Zealand company, looks awesome. They do great paint jobs. I cannot get one in the real world right now.
Really?
But I have, I mean, they're a high-end bike, but on the pricey side, Nathan, for me. But it looks
but they are
phenomenal.
available though. They are available.
Yes,
okay, gotcha. Well, here we can't get bikes. We can't get bikes here. I'm currently looking for a mountain bike, and I can't even get, I have a mountain bike, but we need another one. And I literally can't find a mountain bike to purchase. That's like how difficult it is to get a hold of bikes currently in the US, actually. So, but yeah,
it's quite cool because it's a New Zealand company. And I mean, I'm from New Zealand. I find it interesting that there's a bike company here who's got all these bikes in Zwift. The only problem with it is it's a beautiful bike for maybe your training rides or workouts or a group ride. It's not the fastest. So based on Eric's sort of assessments from Zwift Insider, it's sort of mid-range. So you wouldn't race on it necessarily unless you paired it with some great wheels. But it looks good for just when you're out cruising the roads.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at it, and as far as Chapter 2 goes, it seems that it's the most aero racy. So it's of their frames. at least in terms of its appearance. So it's 639,000 drops, and you level locked it at 11. So if you want to
11,
get
so it's
into it, it's
low,
level
yeah.
11. So I mean, you can get into it pretty quickly, depending on how long does it usually take to get level 11. I don't even remember level. Like that's a pretty like you could probably do that in a week, I would think. Depending on maybe
Oh, if you went
two.
if you went crazy, maybe. Yeah, maybe a couple of months if you're starting at level 1. But yeah,
Oh,
that bike's
man.
cool. I mean, the chapter, they've got another one out there, the Toa. Now that's more similar to the Canyon Aeroad 2021. So that's a good racing bike. It just doesn't look quite as like
Oh, this
sleek
one looks
out there
so
on the
like
road.
no, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna
It
show it
looks
again.
good.
No, I'm not. Yeah, you're right here. I mean, this thing. Look at that thing. That paint job is just amazing, and I'm kind of that green to blue it feels good, and nice
Yeah.
disc brakes on there. You Matt,
Yeah.
was that a picture you took of you with it, or did you get that somewhere else?
No, I took that from Zwift Insider, but I have taken multiple shots of myself with it to figure out the best wheel combo. And I'm gonna go with the best wheel combo is the zip disc. You know, the disc that changes color depending on what bike you've got, and it's not the fastest, it's not the DT disc, but it's
Yeah,
like
the
got the
old
cool
one.
paint
Yeah,
job.
the old one. Yeah. The old.
I
It used
usually
to be the
ride that.
fastest prior to
Yep.
the DT Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, and that one I like that one because you can change the colors on it with what is going on, and it's worth the sacrifice, right? I mean, how you look,
Yeah.
it's worth the
Oh,
sacrifice.
it's worth the sacrifice. It's worth it. Absolutely. So that's our sort of fashion part of the show. But the other part, which is I am sort of at the lower end of this, Nathan. You're probably at a better side of the tech side of Zwift. So all the things that sort of support the tech part makes your riding a little bit more comfortable. I mean, I did build a computer like a couple of months ago, so we might do a show on the best parts to build a PC. I think could be a great sort of part of a show. But this time, I got someone from the community sent me a video because we talked a lot last season in ZRL about bike swaps and how you could get the quickest bike swap. And I think we've found the way to get the quickest and easiest bike swap.
This is crazy. This is pretty cool. Do you know
Should we
what
show
this
the
guy
video
is?
first?
What's this guy's name? Burgess,
I think it's
right?
David. Oh, Tom Burgess. Tom Burgess.
Yeah, Tom Burgess coming in from NZ Bro.
NZ
This is just
Bro.
quick. It's just a minute video, guys, everybody. So let's take a quick look at what he does here.
Look back on the vent. We're on the Grail at the moment. Look front. Look front. Venge bike.
No way.
This is cool. I know. So he's said Venge bike, and now he's not touching any keys. It's just gone in, changed the whole bike. He's set up macros.
Wait, he started pedaling right away again. What?
Yeah.
Like,
So he's
whoa.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa, talk about bike swap. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Look
He
front.
said it's even faster now.
Gravel bike.
There we go.
Wait,
So,
whoa. So he goes,
I
it does
know.
the pairing for him.
Yeah,
It's like,
everything.
are you kidding? That was the fastest bike swap I've ever seen.
I know.
What the heck?
Boom. Like 2-3 seconds.
Wow, that was crazy. That
Yeah,
was
so
that was
this
definitely
is-
crazy.
Yeah. This is what I love. So this is a lot of people talk to me about macros. So they put macros in, they've got stream decks, things like that. So they just do macros. But this is what is it? An app called Voice Attack. And I don't think you can use it if you're using like an iPad or anything. It's just if you're on a
Perfect
computer.
name. Voice
I know.
Attack.
Voice Attack. Yeah. So go check out the app Voice Attack. I haven't trialed it yet, but I've got the app to give it a go. And you just say a word. So say you want to drop a power up, you load in a word go or full send or attack. And that'll just drop the
Oh my
power
God.
up
If
you're
we're
gone.
live on stream, right? Like you're
Yeah.
live on stream and someone's just like full send, and then like, oh, watch out, full send is on its way. Here we go.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So it's awesome. But the coolest thing I think was the bike swap. So you if you watch there, you saw there with him, he's saying front, back. So he's doing the front and the back camera angles. But when he went bike swap gravel, he'd loaded in the keys, boom, that took 2-3 seconds. And he just sat there, he just sat up and it all did it in the computer. It looked awesome. I think it's great.
That was pretty amazing for sure. Wow, we got a lot of chat coming in through here. I mean, like, obviously people are loving this whole. I mean, we've got the fashion going on here. We've got obviously the bike selection. Chris is coming in with Mighty Morphin Power Time. Like, there we go. That would be a nice the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Go. Back in the day, did you know, Anna? You weren't around at this point, but back in the day when Z Power was around, well, it's still around, but when it was a major part of early Zwift racing days, we just were like, the Power Rangers were here. Go Power Rangers. That was like the nickname that we had for the Z Power whenever it would kind of like jump into the front of one of our races and kind of wreck the race or something, and then you were trying to commentate around it, and then we'd just be like, well, the Power Rangers are doing their thing, but that was anyways. I think they're doing a throwback in Twitch chat right now to those old school days.
Oh, nice. But yeah, that's I know a few of the NZ Bro team have set that up now. Now, this is an interesting point though, and I've seen it coming in from chat is, and this was it came in ZRL too, is should these quote unquote hacks, so Stream Deck macros, voice attack controls, should they be allowed? I mean, you're going to find it hard to prevent them, because I get what people are saying is it really is device dependent. So unless you have a PC or a computer, you can't utilize this. You can't do this if you're on an iPad or something like that. So I don't even know if you can do it if it's a Mac computer.
I want to speak to that for sure.
Okay.
Real quickly. Yeah. And the reason being is because we're not the only ones with this problem, right? So like, and my reaction is like, deal with it, right? Because I'm on the end of like, well, I've got a nice PC and I can do this whole thing and whatever. But and here's the thing is Zwift haven't built this in, right? This isn't anything that Zwift have done. This is just how someone's interacting with the game and the hardware that they're using. That's one thing. Now, if Zwift were to build in something that wasn't available to everybody because of what platform they're using, that would be a little bit more, that gave you somewhere of an advantage. It'd be a little bit more like, oh, I don't know about that, right? And we have that in Apex. In Apex Legends, and a lot of games, if you play on a console, they give you aim assist because thumbs are so bad at aiming. Okay, versus a hand with a mouse. And so when I'm playing Apex and then they put someone on a controller with me, I know they can just run at me and kill me. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Get rid of. Why is aim assist in a game that, so anyways, I'm not going to go off on my frustrations with Apex Legends completely. Jordan Rapp, who now moved over from Zwift over to Apex, I'm talking to you, man. Aim assist needs to be gone, dude. Anyways, but like because Zwift haven't built it in and somebody can just go and make this and it's how they have made something to interact with the game, I don't see it as a hack because it isn't actually going into the game itself and manipulating how it's interacting with you. It's just an input. I don't know if you should have to like, there is a slippery slope there, but I do feel like this input is okay. It's just taking care of a bike swap. Like that's different. It isn't like it's taking care of pedaling for you, right?
Yeah. I'd say it's, if I look in real life, I'd say that I'd put this on a similar line to Mohoric using a dropper post to get more benefit on the downhill. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, he went into a lot of like testing. That technology is out there available for everybody as this is. So he could go get that dropper post, test it, try it. It may or may not work. He was innovative. It worked. He did a great downhill with a little bit of moto love, but it worked. So I kind of see it a little bit similar here. Like, like I said, I put a bit of time and effort into building a Zwift specific PC. I like all these kind of hacks, or, like quote unquote hacks. I go out and have a look as like how you can optimize your sort of computer experience with Zwift. But like you said, I'm not going into the game and doing anything to the game. It's stuff outside the game that can help me. It's sort of, I think it just adds that. But it's like, for a while I had a little controller, so it was like a controller you'd use in your car for Bluetooth control, but I scripted it so it could drop power ups, so I could just drop them while I was in in the drops of the handlebars, because you waste a bit of time when you're in a sprint. Take your hand up, push a space bar, or push the little power up button. This time I could just push it, on the drop handlebars. So it's just utilizing different technology, and I think
you have
should
one of
be
those. You have one of those handlebar
Yeah,
power
yeah.
up? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
which was quite fun. I used it for quite a while. I just I think I ended up losing it. I took my bike out on the road and I think I forgot to take it off and it dropped off somewhere. So but yeah, I mean, it's like, so Darren's coming to chat. It's similar in, if you watch Premier League, the live stream of the races, there is a partner of that person or a parent or a friend standing there pushing the space bar for them. So it's a similar thing, right?
Ooh,
So
that one's tough. That one is
you think
like
that crosses a line?
like that's assistance in a little bit of a way, right? So like, but I guess soigneur, is it like having a soigneur? I don't know. Like, is it like having a water, somebody on the team that's getting your water bottles for you? That's a tough question there. I think that'll be interesting to see what kind of solutions come down the road specifically for what we're talking about there. We'll see what ends up happening, because the fact that somebody has already made the as a third party, they made a controller for power-ups. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if more things like that start happening.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know that DC Rainmaker reviewed one a while back, the Commander box, which I think was, so I just kind of hacked a car Bluetooth button, but he had the Commander box, which was a bit more specific to Zwift loading and power-ups and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff out there. I'd just say keep an eye on what's going on, because there's some cool tech that people are looking at.
Was that for sale actually too, the Commander box? Was that that was like actually?
So yeah, it was.
Yeah, it looks like it's wow. That thing was a serious little piece of equipment here.
Contraption.
Looks like he put it in water to see how much sweat it can handle. Because that was one of the first things I was thinking about when it came to handlebar controllers and stuff like that. Is like, I sweat all over electronics here. Like, I need to keep things away from me. Like, I'm surprised this microphone still works. So
yeah. And I don't know. I'd just say keep an eye out. We're going to have some tech each week. So if you've seen some cool tech out there, shoot me a message, because I like to be all over this kind of stuff. We might get talk about building Zwift PCs. There's a great PC Facebook page specific to Zwift computers, and there's some great guys who run that. So they might come on the show at some point and have a chat to us about all the geeky side of things. I geek out on this stuff a lot. I could talk about it for hours, but that's kind of getting there. We're going to keep these shows to around an hour, I think, Nathan. So yeah, I mean, if you got anything else to add, but why don't you
you're gonna put the muzzle. You gotta put a muzzle.
Yeah,
that's what you have to be careful. That's for sure. What's happening in our events, right?
What are you up to for next week? And can you tease anything? Can you tease anything for next week's show?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So over the next week, I'm racing this weekend. So that is happening. Are you racing this weekend at all? Or what are you doing as far as events go? Like, if people want to join in with what you're doing on Zwift or in real life.
Okay. Yeah, well, in real life, if you want to come over to New Zealand and join me for our local triathlon club training, you're more than welcome tomorrow morning. It'll be a bit of a flight to meet me there. But Zwift-wise, I usually jump on, so being about, would it be morning your time? So tomorrow I'll jump on and do a workout or something. I'll live stream them all on Twitch because it's a bit of fun. And then I actually have next week, because obviously it's a huge week in women's cycling coming up. The Tour de France Femme avec Zwift kicking off this Sunday, Champs-Élysées. I've got to ask, who's your pick for the first stage? Sprint, Champs-Élysées?
I haven't. I'm
going to
too
set us
focused
up.
So I'm fully committed, focused on the women's racing. I'm just trying to keep up with the men's right this moment, though, just to be totally honest. Like, I do a recap. I either watch Lantern, or if I have a little extra time, I'll watch NBC on their just full recap on YouTube. I've got so little time in life so then just to keep up, I do the recap later that night. So I'm just focused on the men's situation right now. As soon as that finishes, I'm going to go full in on the women's and 100% supportive there. not just supportive. I'm actually more excited to watch the women's racing. That's like 100% because I've watched the men's side of things for so long, and it's the same story right now. It kind of feels like a little bit, and it's good. Like, dude, I was watching those guys on that Cat 1
Don't tell me about the stage.
time
Don't
the
tell
other
me about
day.
the stage. I haven't watched it
Well,
yet.
just watching Tade and Vino go neck and neck, and that and the torture over the top, and Garrett trying to hang on, and just the effort. I saw it in those guys. Like, man, I could see even like in those moments when you're like, what am I even doing on a bike? Kind of moments. Like, this is what, and the only thing that's probably keeping them going is the fact that the cameras are on and their thing is lined with people. You know what I mean? So.
And Van Aert's death stare when he's like leading the group and his face is just like pale and his eyes are like hollow. He's just staring at the road. It's like, wow. But what we are going to have though as part of the show is I'll set up a virtual team for the women's racing. So that'll be on Velo Games. So keep an eye on the links. We'll set up and have a little leaderboard each week. It goes for 8 days. So it'll be for the next couple of shows, see how they're going. But yeah, they kick off on Sunday. I'm pretty pumped. I think my heart is going with Mariana Vos to take the first stage. I just think
that's a good pick.
She's such a boss. I know she's focusing on it, so that'd be cool. But yeah, next week on Zwift, Sisu is running a men's and women's sort of stage race format. I know the men's one's been going for a while over the men's race, but the women's one kicks off next week. So I'll be doing that. So check that out on Sisu Racing. They've got a cool sort of stage race.
They're doing a great job. I really do want to, they've been asking for some coverage. We're seeing what we can do for them here on ZCL, but I just want to give them a huge shout out because they look super organized. I really like their passion for Zwift. They're doing an amazing job. So definitely check out what Sisu is up to, you guys. It's really, really great. I'm racing this weekend. If you want to check out what I'm up to as far as in real life racing, if you are in the Midwest, Wisconsin Off-Road Series presented by Trek, one of the largest mountain bike series in the nation. We're at Mount Morris this weekend. It used to be a Pro XCT actually, and I actually met some Australians at the Pro XCT there. Peter Mullins was there, as well as Australian national champion Hamilton. Chris Hamilton was there. I raced against those guys actually back in like 2014, I think it was, right around that time or so. So that was a really good, it's been a really good Pro XCT course. It's going to be a tough course this weekend, so that's what I'm going up to this weekend. For next week on the wrap, though, we're looking to see if we can get some insider look from Zwift and what they are up to on the ground a little bit. We'll see if we can get a special guest, so make sure to come in for that. I'm not going to make any for sure announcements at this point, but just as a little bit of a teaser, we might have some really cool content when it comes to Watch the Femmes and what's going on with Zwift's involvement there. And obviously we'll be chatting all kinds of stuff about what's been going on as we'll be quite a few days into the stages for the Women's Tour de France. So I think that's it for us here, right?
Yeah.
This has been...
It is a good first show.
The reaction from chat, I'm absolutely like, I was like, how's this going to go? And next thing I know, it's like, all the chatter just comes flying in. Absolutely love it. So good to see everybody hanging out on Twitch.
Nathan, have you seen the challenge that's been given to us?
I don't, man. Okay, here's the thing about me and efficiency. Okay, like I am a natural born grinding dude. Okay, and if I have to put some time into something, and it's just like there's an account here that has my sweat and time and whatever going into it, I'm like, I would feel so like can it be for charity? Can it be for something? Like that account, it needs to be for something. So here's the challenge that came. For those that didn't see it, it was like me and Anna have to, who said the challenge too? Was it Darren or was it somebody in chat?
Dunk?
It might have been Duncan, but they said we both set a level 1 Zwift account and see how long it takes us to get to level 50 challenge. Was that what it was?
No, level 11.
Just to 11. Just level 11?
Just to get that chapter bike. So you had to see who could get to level 11 first. Because you thought it would take a week. I think that's why that challenge.
I'll do it in a couple days. I'll do it in a day. We'll just
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Now I'm like, all right, bring it. Oh, you did a week? Level 11? Like,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. We'll see how we go with that challenge. Level 1 to level 11. How long does it take?
Oh, it's good. This is good fun, everybody. Really good fun. Hey, we really appreciate everybody hanging out with us for the wrap. That's going to be it for wrap episode 1. We'll have episode 2 next week with the main feature obviously being the women's Tour de France, avec Zwift. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit those follow buttons for more content besides just the wrap. Obviously, we do the TTTs here, ZRL once we get into ZRL season, and maybe some more content that's being developed around a few of the test ideas that we're doing on some of the other channels. Make sure to go check out myself and Anna on all of our socials as well as our Twitch channels. We do plenty of stuff when it comes to Zwift on those. And that's going to be it for the wrap. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you next week. As always, everybody, right on.